On the move. Let's get to it. And what is going on, baseball fans? Oh my, it has been quite the day for me today. Quite the day. This is overall a baseball show. This is not the Red Sox show, but I gotta say, I'm quite happy. I'm quite excited now that we got Trevor Story. I'm gonna be on maybe a little giraffe neck Robbie to start things off here, but you all know how badly I wanted Trevor Story. I've wanted him for a long time. He fits perfectly, and I'm a happy man. What can I say? Everyone, welcome to tonight's show. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces here. Missy B, what's going on? Ethan, Mason, Alec Walt, what is going on? Alec Walt, how are we doing? Mason, Hype Square, Miles, England, JB, Wyatt, what's going on? Gaming with Brian, hello. Keith, Caliph, Logan, Nerd Bomb, Val, Shaves. Oh, we got a new member. 20 Legend. Oh, 20 Legend has been a member now for 4 months. 20 Legend, thank you so much. Baseball Homer, Mac and Cheese, 5D Gaming, Josu C, what's going on? Trevor, hello. Bryce, Scott, Nathan, Julie, Julian, Mets Nation, Braden Cook, Missy B, hello. Tyler D, Bryce, Justin. What is going on, everyone? Hope everyone is having a good weekend. As exciting as the Trevor Story news was, it dawned on me not too long ago that I go back to work tomorrow. I had my spring break. I had the week off, which, to be completely honest, this was the best possible week that I could have had spring break. The fact that all of this stuff was going on this past week, spring break was perfect this past week. But I am very sad because I do go back to work tomorrow. We do have a couple of super chats that came in. We just had one that came in, but I also want to acknowledge one from earlier. It came in during the waiting period. Ben Lowry with a $4.99 super chat. Robbie, remember when I told you my source told me Story to the Sox on Friday? You're welcome, sir. That source, keep it, my friend, because that's a good one right there. And also, shout out to iTalk Studios. If you don't know his YouTube channel, go follow it. He makes very solid videos over there. But he posted on Twitter the other night that once Carlos Correa signed, he posted that Trevor Story was going to sign with the Red Sox. And then it got a little muddy. It got a little hairy. All of a sudden, it wasn't a guaranteed thing, and all these other teams started jumping into the mix. But iTalk Studios, he got it right. He said his source said that they're going to be signing him. And he got it right, and I'm very happy. Because if he got that wrong, man, oh man, that wouldn't have been good. But iTalk Studios, thank you for coming through with that source of yours. Hans, what's going on? Dirty water season. Thanks, Boob, for the first report. Yes, Bob Nightingale, he was on it. But even still, I still wanted to see someone else. And once everyone else was getting the story, It was a done deal. It was a done deal. I pretty much, when Bob Nightingale said it, I was like, okay, this guy just reported Carlos Correa first the other night. I mean, hey, I trust Bob now. I trust. Hans, check Twitter after the stream. Hans, I got to go look at your messages. I remember we were talking. I got to go look at that. I will go look at that soon. Hope car AC is going. Yes, the car AC, I've actually, instead of, so I have an older, I used to have a newer car. I was making payments on it. I decided to trade that thing in for something older, so that way I wouldn't have any more car payments and I wasn't a slave to my car anymore. And however, older car, most likely you're going to run into some issues, and the AC was not doing too hot the other day. But instead of bringing it in to a mechanic and spending a whole ton of money, I just went and bought one of those little things to kind of fill up the what is the word? Whatever the stuff is for the AC. I'm just going to keep pumping that back up, if it runs out. So I think I'll be good to go for a while. It could be that soon I actually might be getting myself something new. Might be getting myself into something a little more reliable. But Hans, I do appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for the $5 super chat. What was I saying? Yes, Trevor Story to the Red Sox, but it's not just Trevor Story. I'll keep my giraffe neck Robbie at bay for the time being. But Jorge Soler to the Marlins. The Blue Jays, how are they going to counter the Trevor Story move? They're still looking for a left-handed bat, supposedly. We got Craig Kimbrel out there, maybe being on the move. A certain team made a call about Craig Kimbrel at one point. Could he be on the move somewhere? Michael Conforto, the biggest free agent left on the market. Where's Michael Conforto going to go? We're going to talk about all of it tonight. Everyone, before I do get started, hit that subscribe button for me. We have gained a ton of subscribers over the last couple of weeks, and I want to thank everyone that has been coming out for the longest time, but also thank you to all the new subscribers as well. You're really helping our channel grow. Thank you all, everyone, for coming into all the live streams. Also, hey, everyone, hit that like button for me. It's going to help this get out there into the algorithm. And hit that bell notification as well. Share the stream on Twitter right now if you can. But let's just get into it, everyone. Let's get into it. So, again, Trevor Story, while we do have Michael Conforto out there still, Trevor Story was still the big name out there. You had Carlos Correa go the other night in a shocking move to the Twins. Still can't believe he went to the Twins. I still cannot believe that. That's just like mind-blowing to me. But Trevor Story, it looked like for the longest time, this guy was just an obvious fit to go to the Red Sox. It just looked like a no-brainer for a long time. I was thinking, I was like, I don't know, is Chaim Bloom going to do it? Until Chaim Bloom signed someone, it was kind of hard to say if he was going to go after it. There were rumors of Freddie Freeman not too long ago, where they were in it. Supposedly, they were one of the final teams going after him. Also, let me just pull up some music here. You all know I always forget the music. I got to get the music going. Got to get the vibes going. But until Chaim Bloom made that kind of a move, I wasn't really sure if he would make that move. So he did it today. Big time deal. And Trevor Story will be coming to the Red Sox. Let me get this music on. All right, music's on. All right, here we go. Alrighty, so, as we all know, Red Sox to sign Trevor Story. The Red Sox are in agreement with Trevor Story on a 6-year, $140 million contract. I will say, I was wondering, man, you all know, I've been saying this all offseason. Maybe Story can just take a 1-year deal. But here's the thing. If he could take a long-term deal, absolutely the guy should do it as long as, you're getting the terms that you like. I thought if he's not going to get the terms that he wants, then, go take a 1-year deal. I was surprised that he got a 6-year deal. I thought the holdup was because, well, I'll get into kind of what I think ended up happening because it looked like it was a done deal the other night. iTalk Studios, I trust his source. He has a source. Not going to get into really who that is, but he does have someone. And when iTalk Studios has posted stuff before about Red Sox transactions, they have pretty much come true. All of them. So he has someone. Anyway, but once Correa signed the other night, it definitely seemed like that made things a little hairier because all of a sudden Story on the Red Sox wasn't happening, and then Heyman was throwing out tweets out there saying the Yankees, the Astros, the Giants, trying to get in on it, and I was actually getting a little worried. I was getting a little worried because I'm thinking, all right, Correa got this, nice little 3-year deal with opt-outs. Maybe Story saw that happen, and then he ended up, maybe changing his mind. Here's what I think ended up happening. Ben Lowry also hearing Richard Rodriguez or Tony Watson to the Sox possible. I wouldn't mind Richard Rodriguez. I think that would be a pretty nice arm, especially now because Trevor Story really changes the game for the Red Sox a bit because of the defense. you could now go get someone that maybe can go give you some ground balls. You can go, because the Red Sox defense has always been a bit suspect. It still is a little bit on the left side, especially with Rafael Devers. I'm not convinced Rafael Devers is a long-term third baseman, and I wonder how much that comes into play with how the Red Sox are going to look into extending him. I actually wonder if the fielding, I don't think the Red Sox know what they want to do. If the Red Sox really wanted to sign Rafael Devers to a long-term extension, don't you think they would have already approached him by now? I mean, he basically said the other day, no, they haven't approached me. We haven't talked. Well, everyone, I understand the bat is amazing with Rafael Devers, but the guy can't field. He can't do anything out there. So I think the Red Sox are kind of, here's what I think. I think they're taking a wait and see kind of an approach, because I guarantee Rafael Devers is looking for some, he's looking for some decent money. But do the Red Sox see him as a third baseman? Obviously, he looks like a designated hitter right now. So you're not going to give him third base money to be DH. So, it really just comes down to how the Red Sox see it. But the Red Sox defense is still a bit of an issue on the left side. However, Trevor Story, he really shores up a hole there at second base. They could have gone with someone like a Christian Arroyo. Could you have maybe Kike Hernandez, bounce back and forth between center, and second, maybe, sure. But Trevor Story is going to be a complete sure thing. And I think Trevor Story, he has the opportunity, to be even, could you say Trevor Story, if we go take a look at Fangraphs right now, Ben Lowry, Xander to third, Dahlback DH, Devi first, down second. I've wondered about Rafael Devers at first base. I've wondered, but, you got to remember with Chavis coming up. Chavis, I think, is going to be up eventually. So, could you do that? Sure, you definitely could. But let's go take a look at the top second baseman from last year. If we go take a look here. So, Trey Turner's going to be at short, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. You got guys like Marcus Semien, Brandon Lau, Jose Altuve. I think Trevor Story could easily be up here. But he's going to be strictly a second baseman now. That was what John Heyman reported today. I'll go pull up the tweet here in a second. But Trevor Story, if he plays second base, his defense is going to be through the roof. Ballcap Sports says, hey, Robbie, congrats on Story. Oh, what a day. We needed that. We needed Trevor Story. If we did not get Trevor Story, I was going to go jump off a cliff, because it's like you needed a right-handed bat. He fits perfectly. He's going to, people always say, with Coors Field, the Coors effect. Well, now Trevor Story is going from the Coors effect to the Fenway effect. He's going to be able to use that monster really well. Why? Because of how much he pulls. He's a pull guy. There's going to be a lot. There would have been a lot of hits last, or a lot of outs last year that would have ended up being hits. Take a look here. If you take a look with the Red Sox, he would have had 38 home runs last year, but that's just home runs. Think of all the doubles maybe this guy could have gotten last year if he played at Fenway. But look if he went to Yankee Stadium, they said he would have had 48 home runs last year. I'm all about it. Trevor Story, the Yankee killer. Trevor Story, I'm all about it. Blue Jays fans, I know you're with me on that. Even if he went to, somewhere like if he goes and plays in Toronto, 36 home runs in a full season. So it's very interesting. Somewhere like KC would have only had like 23. Wow. But it just really goes to show, I think his bat is really going to fit. Simply Fog, Cubs need a closer. Wick, a World Egg trade. I don't know. I think the Cubs, they could still go sign someone, I think. They could still sign someone. So we'll have to wait and see what the Cubs end up doing. But, hey, they've made the moves. They've made a few moves here. Seiya Suzuki, Marcus Stroman. I definitely think they could go for a reliever. Why couldn't they? There's still some relievers out there, We mentioned earlier Lowry sent in a super chat, saying, Richard Rodriguez, maybe could the Cubs go after someone like him? He's familiar with that NL Central, pitching with the Pirates. Could that be possible? We'll have to wait and see. But yes, I'm pretty excited about this. Trevor Story, again, it's not just the home runs, but there's a lot of times, maybe an out could have turned into, a monster scraper, like something like that. I think Story is going to be phenomenal. I think he's a great fit. I've thought he's been an obvious fit for a long time. I was going to be really upset if Trevor Story ended up going, anywhere else. To me, it's like this was the guy. But again, with Chaim Bloom, I believe this is this is the biggest contract Chaim Bloom has signed, right? I'm trying to think, has he done any? I don't think he's done any extensions, has he? Ben Lowry, $1.99. Also hearing K Davis as bench DH. Ooh, that could be interesting. I could see someone like Bloom going after Davis he would be really good for the Marlins. That'd be, maybe he can get it going with the Marlins. I think that could be pretty good. We're gonna talk about the Marlins here in a second, but with Chaim Bloom, I'm trying to think. I don't think he's really signed. Kike Hernandez, he did on a 2-year $14. He did Paxton, Hill. Yeah, this is easily the biggest contract Bloom has given out yet. So, by a mile. If we actually look at the contract here, it says here, there is a club option for 2028. So this could end up turning into a 7-year deal. Opt out after 2025. So he's going to be with the Red Sox for the next 3 seasons. And the club can... So if the Red Sox opt in for 2028 before that opt out, then that opt out will go away. So again, he has a club option for 2028. Okay. If they exercise that before 2025 or after 2020 or before 2025, then that will cancel out his opt out. So funny. I don't think I've ever seen what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? A stipulation like that, a contract stipulation, right? So very interesting. So the Red Sox, they'll have a big decision to make by 2025, because if you get to 2025, so they're going to have him for the next 4 seasons. I'm sorry, they're having him for the next 4 seasons, but then they'll have a big decision to make if they exercise it, or if they exercise that 2028 option. So I think it's just the way I see it is the Red Sox, maybe it's more of like a health thing. How is he going to be doing at that point? If he's showing that he's healthy, why not? We'll exercise that 2028 option. So I think health is a big part of that. So very interesting addition to that contract. I don't think I've seen something like that before. So, but Trevor Story, this is going to be massive. Again, I think he has the potential with playing in this ballpark. I think he could be up here, among these top second basemen. I mean, it was really interesting with Story because there were reports over the weekend that he didn't want to play second, and he wanted to play short. But then it seemed like things started to change. Here's what I think ended up happening. Here's what I think. I think the Red Sox had a deal. I think they had a deal agreed upon, verbal agreement with Trevor Story. That's why iTalk Studios, he has a source. He sent it out into the world. I'm telling you right now, iTalk Studios, he would not send something like that out. He's not going to be MLB Nerds, okay, or MLB Drops, the Rangers hitting coach's son. He would not send something out like that if he wasn't completely sure about it. I guarantee all of you that he would not. So what I think ended up happening, I think they had a verbal agreement, and then once Correa signed, I think teams, or at least probably teams, got notice that he was going to be signing, okay? So once that happened, they probably said, all right, you know what? Hey, we're hearing Correa is going to be getting like this 3-year deal with opt-outs. Let's go see if Story will do that, all right? Let's go see if Story will do like a, 2-year deal, 3-year deal with some opt-outs. Let's see what he does. So I think they had an agreement But then all of a sudden his agent started getting phone calls, and they're like, all right, hey, we got to pump the brakes here. We're going to have to, and here's what I think ended up happening too. I would bet money that the Red Sox, I wonder if it was like a flat, like a 5-year deal, right? And I wonder if there was some kind of an opt there. I would imagine there probably was some kind of an opt-out, or maybe it was like a flat deal. There's a lot of things that could have happened. I mean, hopefully one day we'll figure it out. But, you could have maybe had a flat 5-year deal. Could have been something like that. And then once, people heard about Correa getting his opt-outs, maybe the Red Sox, that's when Trevor Story's agent said, all right, hey, we are going to, other teams are giving us some different contract proposals. We're going to hold the phone here for a little bit. And we're going to get back to you. So, again, nothing is set in stone until pen reaches paper. So verbal agreement, we've heard about it. We've heard about verbal agreements before, and they end up just not working out. So what I think, the Red Sox had some kind of an agreement with Story on some kind of a contract. My guess, maybe like a 5-year deal with an option or something like that. And maybe once the Correa opt-out contract got out there, the Red Sox probably, and they to get ahead again of these other teams that were calling, they probably had to offer another year. I guarantee you this club option wasn't here for 2028. So the Red Sox probably had to get very creative and thought, they said, okay, listen, these other teams are calling, they're offering, maybe they're offering like 2-year, 3-year deal with some opt-outs. We got to offer him something that he will not turn down. We got to make the pot juicier. That's what I think ended up happening. So I guarantee this was not the original contract they agreed upon. The Red Sox had to up the ante, and in the end, they got it right. So Trevor Story, he will indeed play second base. I don't know if they have the John Heyman tweet in here. I can go pull up John Heyman's, but John Heyman actually tweeted about that today, saying that he will indeed be the second baseman for the Red Sox. So also, he also was talking about the Yankees continue to focus on pitching. They remain one of many in on Montez and Manaea. So here's the thing, man. Dude, I've been saying this for a little bit now. I think they need to go get Frankie Montez. That guy, if you want a guy under control, I think you should go get him. Honestly, I would love for the Red Sox to go get him, but I don't know if they're going to be able to beat out the Yankees and those prospects. So here was the tweet from John Heyman. Trevor Story has agreed to play second base. Bogaerts, the longtime Red Sox shortstop with 2 rings, will remain at shortstop. Bogaerts has an opt-out after the season. He is sure to exercise. So potentially, Story could move back to shortstop next season. And I think that's a big reason why the Red Sox wanted him as well. At the very least, he will play second base. But now he's an insurance policy in case Bogaerts does leave. So I think this is just great, man. This is great. It just works out so well. It helps out Story. He's going to look good at Fenway. It's obviously really good for the Red Sox. And I do wonder if that ends up being what ends up happening, right? I know I don't like to put all my eggs in one basket when it comes to prospects. With prospects, the situation has to work out. If Nick York, who looked really good last year, ends up turning into something down the road, that's great, but you don't know. So until you are at that point, you can't really sit here and say, oh, well, let Bogaerts, he can just go. And, because it's fine, because we can move Story to short and Nick York will be up eventually. You can't approach it like that. So it is going to be really interesting what ends up happening with Bogaerts. So also another bit of news on Trevor Story. The Rockies, they were willing to pay more than what the Red Sox gave. But Story, they said, nah, I'm out. Very interesting, though, that the Rockies supposedly got involved, saying that they were offering more than 140. See, so I don't know if this was, let me actually rephrase. I don't know if this is if this was today, or if recently that this was offered, or if this was offered back in the day, you know, a little while ago. So I don't know, but interesting that he ended up taking less money to go to the Red Sox. I think it's a great move. Again, I mean, there's not really more I can say about it, because it just makes so much sense. You've all been listening to the streams for how long now? You all know why I thought Trevor Story would be a great fit. All you got to do is look at the spray chart. It's funny because I feel like I posted this spray chart months ago on Twitter. You know, not like it's really, you know, hard to find, or I did anything like extravagant or whatever, but I just said, look at his spray chart. Like, but then I start seeing people in the past couple of days saying, oh my God, look at Trevor Story's spray chart. It's like, I was saying this 3 months ago. So, but I think honestly, you know, with Story, the one thing that I would like for him to improve upon last year, his K percentage was down. Walk percentage was kind of in the middle, but you know, chasing a little bit, swinging and missing a little bit. So I wonder if that had to do with any kind of an injury that he was having. So if we take a look here, his barrel percentage pretty much has been the same. You know, it's kind of fluctuated between 60-65%. Exit velocity does look a little down in the last couple of years, so wonder what could happen there. His K percentage has gone up, so that is one thing to keep in mind. So his walks were pretty much around the same. So, you know, it doesn't really seem drastically different there. He's still got a lot of athleticism. Expected batting average was a lot lower last year compared to years prior. So, but again, I think the offensive numbers can improve just by going to Fenway. Really, I mean, you know, if there's another park that can help you out besides Coors Field, it's Fenway Park. So on base was down. So, but the Red Sox, they tend to do very well with their position players. Yes, they have, you know, had some misses in the past with certain free agents. You know, Carl Crawford to name one, Pablo Sandoval another one, but. You know, yes, those guys didn't really work out, but more often than not, the Red Sox have done well with position players. So I think they're going to really be a great fit for Story. He definitely could have gone to some other teams. You know, the Yankees, they were out there. The Astros, losing Correa. You know, they definitely could have used Story to just simply replace Correa. But, you know, I'm telling you all, I really do think here that the Astros, they're completely fine with Jeremy Pena. They're completely fine. They did get Nico Goodrum, so they do have that there in case you want to go that route. But I think Jeremy Pena, man, I think he's going to be really good. So, but Llama Ford, you should go to Savant Illustrator and overlay his spray chart. Ooh, how do I do that? How do I do that? Where do I go to that? Savant Illustrator is under visuals? Where is that? I didn't know that was a thing. Am I on the right page here? Help me out. I would love to see that. Is it this one? StatCast Field Visualizer? What am I even on? What the heck is going on? I don't know. I don't think that's the right one. You can just Google it. Llama Ford, Savant Illustrator. Let's see. Oh, this one. Ooh. Oh, this is neat. I didn't know this was a thing. So, can you just put in the ballpark? Where do I put Fenway? Teams? Or game? No. Teams. I don't know. Do I just put home team Red Sox? I don't know what's going on. I don't know how you do this. I might have to dig into this a little bit later. Change the chart to spray chart. Hold on. There we go. Spray chart. Oh. Oh, wow. Look at that. So, interesting. Wow. Look at that. Wow. This is neat. So, let's go back to Coors Field from last year. So, this was Story's. So, everyone, I have your eyeballs on this. This was Story's spray chart last year with Coors Field. Now, let's change it to Fenway. So if you look particularly right here, so you see all these gray dots that are right here. These are all outs at Coors Field, but then look at Fenway. Oh my God. How many home runs is that? That's... Oh my God. Let's just say the one's passed. 1, 2. I can't even count all these. Wow. I don't think you'll end up getting... There's no way. How many is this? Like 50? This has got to be like 50. Good grief. Again, look at this. Go to Coors. See, Coors is a much deeper ballpark. So, again, you do have Coors Field. Like, you do have that effect with the altitude. But, whoa. So I wonder if the altitude, maybe you take him out of that, take him out of that altitude. Maybe it ends up kind of maybe evening out a little bit. So, so I definitely think it could even out. I don't think he's going to have this many home runs. Don't think that's going to happen. But you could definitely see at least, maybe a few more, maybe 5 to 10 more that get over the wall. So very possible. Very possible. I could see Story getting 35 plus home runs, I think. So, but alrighty. So, again, the big news, Trevor Story going to the Red Sox. It looked like it was going to happen the other night. All of a sudden, other teams jumped in after Correa. They saw the deal Correa got. Think that kind of stalled, a little bit. Red Sox... They were starting to sweat a little bit, but they basically said, all right, we'll give you another opt-out. We'll give you another year on this deal. We'll get this done. So, and Chaim Bloom finally got a big one done. It took a few years, but he got a big one. And this is going to be a great fit for the Red Sox and Trevor Story. As a Red Sox fan, I'm extremely happy with this signing. However, with the Red Sox, they're not done. Again, I know this is a baseball show. I'm not trying to make it all about the Red Sox here, but just so happens my Red Sox are involved with a big signing. I got a super chat coming in. Dan Crew, Jays fan, like Ketel Marte fit more than J-Ram. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Dan Crew, I think that could end up being a really good fit as well. Also, we got a new member. Zohaib Khan has become a member. Everyone, I don't know if I mentioned this, but we have officially hit the 100 member milestone. So I want to thank all of you that signed up for a membership. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Let's get to 200 members, shall we? If you do want to become a member, there is a join button somewhere on your screen. It's 99 cents per month. You get to have badges and emojis in the chat. And you get access to a private Discord. So, where you can talk baseball all the time. So, anyway, but real quick, before I do move on, I want to point this out. Listen, so how do I see my Red Sox right now? How do I see them? Well, obviously, Trevor Story looks great in that lineup right now. Looks like a nice fit. Jed has become a member. Jed, thank you so much. Obviously, this looks fantastic. This lineup looks great. However, this Red Sox team... the pitching, it looks a little, it doesn't look very satisfying. So I'm not the biggest fan of how this pitching is looking. I don't know what the heck you're going to get out of Waka. I don't know what Rich Hill, I love Rich Hill, but what is he going to bring to the table? Tanner Houck, I think he can definitely take a step forward. And I think he will. I think he will take, he's going to improve. I think he will. Nick Pivetta, He had some, last year, he definitely had some good moments. But, second half, he wasn't as crisp. I ended up with a 4.5 ERA. It's wait and see with this Red Sox rotation. The bullpen, I do like Diekman. I think Strom could be a decent middle relief piece. Garrett Whitlock, I think if he ends up being the closer, which at this point, I feel like he should. Matt Barnes has always excelled more as a setup guy. So I feel like they should just leave Barnes in the setup role. Just leave him there. He's always done well in that role. Garrett Whitlock, have him be the closer. It just seems like that's a good spot for him. He was coming in late in games last year. I think Whitlock is a good option for the back end. So I think the bullpen is fine. I'm okay with it. I think it's a worthy enough bullpen. You also got someone like Brayan Bello down in the minor leagues, who I think could help out this year at some point. You still got someone like Darwinzon Hernandez as well. Phillips Valdez is down there, but look out for Brayan Bello. I wonder if he could be someone. He is a starter, but could he come out? Could he come up and maybe help out in the bullpen? You got other guys too, like Connor Siebold, Cutter Crawford. I actually saw Cutter Crawford when I flew to Boston last year. It was supposed to be, I believe it was supposed to be Nick Pivetta pitching. And then I think he got COVID, and then they ended up calling up Cutter Crawford. He looked okay, but he was just getting hit around. But you got Josh Winkowski too. They have some depth. They do. Frank Ryan, $4.99. With Story, does that make York go in a deal for legit starting pitching? No. York is going to stay. I don't see that. Especially when you don't know what's going on with Bogarts. Bogarts could leave, and then Story could be your shortstop. Everyone's saying it's Xander leaving next year, but I think it could be York. I mean, so here's the thing with prospects. The thing with prospects is they're always available. Don't ever think a prospect is not available. They're always available. So you never know. You just never know with prospects. That's the thing. I would hope they would not trade York. I think that guy just looks like a Red Sox. The thing is, I just don't see Bloom trading away top prospects at the moment. I just don't. Because they need to still build up that farm system. He's actually been on record recently saying, how he was praising the Dodgers, where the Dodgers can practically go out there and do whatever they want because they have the farm, right? They have the money. That's where Chaim Bloom wants to get to. He wants to have that farm, right? So if you're just trading away guys, well, you're not really helping yourself out. So could York go in a deal? It's always possible. I just don't think he does it. And that's why I don't think Bloom goes for, maybe he goes for Montez because he is under control, but I don't think he'll do someone like Minaya because the way Bloom likes to trade, he likes to get someone that's under control, or he likes to get prospects in return as well. So Bloom isn't just going to go out there and just, trade prospects for a guy. Bloom is going to bloom. So, but for the Red Sox, what do I think of the Red Sox right now? Coming from a Red Sox fan, I'm going to be honest. You know what this team kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of 2010 a little bit when they had Adrian Beltre. So it does remind me of that a little bit. Kind of, good lineup, good guys in the lineup, but then the pitching was a little flat. They had signed some guys where if you go to the 2010 Red Sox, they had Lackey, they had Buckles. Who else was in that rotation? Lackey they had just signed. Oh, yeah, Lester. Duh, Lester. Obviously, Lester. Lester was really good that year. But, the bullpen middle relief was not very good with that Red Sox team. Their bullpen really struggled that year. The Red Sox bullpen this year, again, it kind of reminds me of that 2010 bullpen, Like, you had Papelbon and Bard at the back end, But then Okajima, Del Carmen, these other guys, they weren't very effective. So the Red Sox bullpen, and I wonder, I like Diekman. I think that was decent. Barnes, you just don't know what you're going to get. Whitlock, I love at the back end. I like the back end of the Red Sox bullpen, but I'm not sure about middle relief. The starting pitching seems a little thin, So it does remind me slightly of that 2010 Red Sox team where coming in, they did look pretty good. And to be honest with you, this 2010 Red Sox team, they look better on paper than this team, at least with the pitching. That lineup they had, I think this lineup is better than that lineup. But that rotation was way better. And the Red Sox don't have that rotation. So right now where I see the Red Sox, I see a upper 80s win team. Maybe 90, 91. I think they did overachieve a little bit last year. But I definitely see maybe an upper 80s, low 90s team. So that's where I'm currently sitting. I don't think they're going to be a bad team at all. I think they're going to be a good team. But how good? That's the problem. Is you have other teams in this division. So the Red Sox in 2010, they finished third. Okay, if you actually go to the let's go to the league standings. Remember the Rays in 2010 won the division. Yankees got second. The Blue Jays, again, look how tight, not tight, but you had the Blue Jays in fourth place with 85 wins. It kind of reminds me of this year a little bit. You got 4 teams that are looking pretty good. I think the Red Sox could be kind of around this win total, right? Because they have strengths, but they also have weaknesses like that team. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I think the Red Sox, they definitely have a great lineup, better defense now. We're just going to have to wait and see. Will they be able to navigate this starting pitching? That's going to be the key. Is the bullpen going to be able to carry it down the stretch? It's going to be a good team. Just the question is, how good? You do have Sale. He will come back in a couple months. But Paxton, I don't know what his time frame is. What, like mid-season probably? Probably mid-season, second half. So Boston Productions AL East is going to be stacked. 12-team postseason. Do you think the Red Sox make it back as maybe a wild card team? It's very... These predictions this year, my predictions, they're going to be really fun, man. If you go to... just taking... I need visuals in front of me. I think you're going to have at least two... I think you're going to have at least 2 East teams win a wild card. Now, who's going to get that third? I definitely think one of the West teams can get it. You got the Mariners and the Astros, and the Angels could be pretty good. The Twins are a lot better. They still need pitching, though. So the thing is this offseason is not done. It's not done. While, yes, most of the big free agents are gone now, besides Conforto, you got a couple of other guys out there that could help out teams, but mainly like probably bullpen guys at this point. Maybe some bench guys can help out, but the Twins, they need more starting pitching. While, yeah, Correa is nice. They've made some moves. The Twins starting pitching is not there. So we're going to have to wait on the Twins, I think. The Guardians, I think, could be good. They got some good starting pitching there. Bieber, he should, full healthy season. I think that's going to be great. But, I think the Guardians could be a sneaky team. So I think we're going to get at least 3 teams from the East in. And then I think we're going to have 1 team elsewhere. Could that be a team like the Twins? You got the Astros, who's going to win that division? Could the Mariners, we're going to have to wait and see. But I definitely could see the Red Sox missing the postseason. I definitely, I feel like lean towards pessimism when it comes to the Red Sox. You know why? Because I remember back in 2011, I was all about it. I was like, this Red Sox team, they're gonna win like 120 games. They're gonna run through the postseason. They were the best team ever. They were the greatest team ever. The greatest Red Sox team ever. And I had so much heartbreak after game 162. And ever since then, I promised myself I will never buy into a team ever again like how I did with that team. Ever. So maybe I am a bit of a pessimist, but hopefully, I obviously hope the Red Sox make it, but it's going to be tough. I don't think I don't think the Red Sox are really the problem. I think it's just these other teams. I'm going to be honest with you. Once again, yes, Wayne Tables, 2011 broke me, man. It broke me. Go ask my best friend. You know, he's a Yankee fan. We lived together, which was pretty funny. And he will always remember how I was. Like, I had my face in my hands after that game. It was awful. But everyone's still sleeping on the Rays. Again. Everyone's talking about the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox. And here are the Rays just winning games every single year. You know? Don't be surprised if this Rays team wins this division again. They won 100 games last year, and that was with half a season of Wander Franco. And now they got a full season of Wander Franco. They added Corey Kluber to the rotation, which I liked. Yeah, you don't got Nelson Cruz, but I still think this Rays team, I think they're the team to beat in this division. Everyone can sit here and, tell me Blue Jays and Yankees and, my fellow Red Sox fans, they can say, hey, the Red Sox, they're definitely good enough. No, I like the Rays. I always will, because I every year I betted against them and they always made me look stupid. So I still like the Rays. But what we all can agree on, what we all can agree on, and I think we all can agree on this, is that it's going to be a dogfight of a division. I think the fourth place team gets at least 85 wins. At least. And maybe even 88, 90. Could a fourth place team have 90 wins? Have we ever seen that before? A fourth place team? Has there ever been a fourth place team get 90 wins? Can someone tell me that? I don't know. Was there a fourth place team last year? Oh yeah. God, last year. Jesus. I mean, wow. That did not even dawn on me. That is crazy. But that could definitely happen again. Absolutely, this could happen again. Wow. That's crazy. Wow. This blows my mind. Even though I knew that happened. It's like, what the heck? I forgot it happened. That's how good this division is. They were this good last year, and all of these teams have made improvements. The Blue Jays have made huge improvements. The Yankees, they've made improvements. The Red Sox, they added Story. They've added some bullpen pieces. The Rays are going to be the Rays. It's... All right, let me rephrase what I said earlier. My brain turned into a complete potato there. Could a fourth place team win more than this? Whoever finishes fourth in this division, could you win more than this? 93 wins? Could you imagine a fourth place team somehow gets 95? I don't know about that. Could that happen? 95 wins for a fourth place team? Could you imagine? Is that even possible? The Orioles would have to lose a ton of games. There's no way. But could this happen again? I don't know. I definitely think, honestly, if I were to make a bit of a, if I were to put money on two teams in this division, right now I would lean Rays and Blue Jays. I mean, I don't know if the Red Sox, Yankees have enough to win this division. I don't know. I don't think the Yankees starting pitching is a bit suspect, along with the Red Sox. The Red Sox lack. They have depth in the farm, but it's not the worst. It's better than what it used to be. It's not the worst, but it's not amazing. The Yankees do have some depth. That's where, and the Rays, they have depth for days. The Blue Jays, their team is phenomenal. They look great. The only thing that's going to stop the Blue Jays are the Blue Jays, right? Kevin Gausman, sure, he looked great in San Francisco. Can he do the same thing with the Blue Jays? Is he going to be able to do it again? Can he keep whatever he fixed in San Francisco? Can he take it with him to Toronto? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. This division is definitely going to be chaotic. But right now, I would lean two teams in this division. I would say Rays, Blue Jays. I think the Rays and the Blue Jays will be in the playoffs next year. Red Sox, Yankees. I don't know. Could the Red Sox and the Yankees sit out a postseason? We'll have to wait and see. But, alrighty. That's enough of the Red Sox and the American League East. We're going to have to wait and see. But the Yankees, I think if they can go get Montez, I mean, you do it. They got the prospects to do it. Will Cashman do it? I don't know. But moving on here. Let's go to a signing that we had from the other night. I didn't go live. I figured, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go live to, talk about Jorge Soler. I figured, I'm like, all right, you know what? When Story signs, I'll talk about Soler then. But Jorge Soler, these were in my original predictions going back to the beginning of the offseason, where I had Jorge Soler going to the Marlins, and indeed, it happened. I thought the Marlins were a fantastic fit, and there were a couple of reasons for this. Why? They needed a bat. Two, it probably wasn't going to cost as much money as these other guys. So, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So, let's go take a look at Jorge Soler on the Marlins. I love it. I think it's a great move. So, let me actually pull up the Marlins now. I got to tell you, I really like this Marlins offseason that they've had. Sure, did they get Castellanos? No. But I really like what the Marlins did this offseason. Aviseo Garcia, Jorge Soler now, Joey Wendell, Jacob Stallings. This is great. This has been a great offseason. I really enjoy this offseason. So, will this be enough offense? That's going to be the question. They got a tough division. So, but as for the contract, it was 3 years, 36. Again, that's what I was saying. I didn't see him. I think I've said probably 10 to 12 million per year. I didn't see anything over 15. So, and that's what he got, 12 years per year for 3 years. So he does have an opt-out after 2022 and 2023. So with Jorge Soler, he was really good in the second half with the Braves. So if we actually go to his 2021 splits, with the Royals last year, he really was slumping. But look at his second half stats. 63 or 67 games in the second half. 263 average, 357 on base, 555 slugging. Look at his numbers in the first half. Only hit 186, 279 on base, a 320 slugging. 7 home runs over 82 games. Then he had 20 over 67. His second half was phenomenal. So I really do love the move. I think it really is something that the Marlins needed. They needed a bat. And Soler, man, it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect with Jorge Soler. I believe the Marlins were one of the teams that really wanted Soler when he first came over to the major leagues back in 2014 or whatever it was, 2013, 2012, can't remember. But, coming over from Cuba, this is a great fit. It just fits based off of needs, based off of money, based off of, him being from Cuba. It's perfect. It's to me, in the beginning of the offseason, when I was, looking at my predictions, I'm like, the Marlins just check off so many boxes, but it was looking like they weren't going to do it. And then, you had all these other teams. You had the Dodgers, the Padres. Could he go back to the Braves? But this is going to be huge for the Marlins. They really needed a bat. So good for the Marlins. Didn't get Castellanos, but I thought Soler was the next best guy. And honestly, I thought the Red Sox were going to end up signing him. In my updated predictions, I said Soler was going to go to the Red Sox. So, because to me, that was like more of like a Chaim Bloom kind of a move, right? Less money. And, would Bloom go the extra mile for one of these top free agents? I don't know. You didn't know at the time. And so I was like, you know what? I think Jorge Soler would be such a Chaim Bloom move. So, but good for the Marlins. I thought that was a great pickup. Moving on. Talking about who else we got? Oh, speaking of free agents. Let's talk about the biggest one left on the market. And that's Michael Conforto. Where the heck is Michael Conforto going? What is going on with Michael Conforto? So, taking a look here, he actually supposedly had a contract offer from the Mets before the 2021 season. Taking a look at this, turned down an extension offer 1 year ago. It was in the $100 million range. Wow. Michael Conforto betting on himself, man. So, ended up not having a great season last year. His on base was still pretty good at 344, but slugging was down, power was down, batting average was down. So, with Conforto, I think this is a guy where, hey, one bad year shouldn't mean a whole lot, but where could Conforto go? Where could he go? With Conforto, you're getting just, when he is on, he's a good bat. He's got power. He can hit for average. He gets on base. A good left-handed bat that a lot of teams would love to have. So where could Conforto go? Well, if we take a look at last year, if we look at the splits, okay, let's go to what teams struggled with left-handed hitting last year. So taking a look. So the teams that struggled with, where's the update button? What is going on? Team. Oh, here we go. Update. So what teams struggled with left-handed hitting? So let's go to WRC plus. So Miami, they were near the bottom, but look at Toronto. Look at Toronto right there. 29th in left-handed hitting last year. And funny enough, if we go to the Blue Jays right now, and one reason that they did rank only 29th was they didn't have a lot of left-handed hitting. And if you go to their lineup now, they still don't have any left-handed hitting. So could Conforto maybe be an option? I don't know. If you look at their outfield, you got Gurriel Jr., Springer, and then, you got Grichuk and Wright. And I think with Grichuk, Conforto would be, I think, a pretty good upgrade. Would he want to go to Toronto? They got a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Restrictions up there with, all the COVID stuff. I don't know. Would he want to go up to Toronto? That's the one thing with Toronto now is like, are they going to have trouble getting guys? I wonder if that's going to end up being an issue, like trades, whatever, if they trade for a player, well, then they have to go. But with free agents, are they going to have trouble attracting free agents down the road? Especially with all these, restrictions that they have up there. So could Conforto, would that matter all that much? I don't know. But the Blue Jays could use a left-handed bat. That could be very possible. If we take a look at some other teams, if you're looking here, Milwaukee, could he go to the Brewers? I don't know. The Brewers didn't rank well with left-handed hitting last year. But as of right now, if we're looking at the Brewers, you got Kane in center, Renfroe in right, and then Yelich in left. So for DH, you have Andrew McCutchen. So I don't see Conforto really going there. One option could be the Yankees. You know, stay in New York. You know, you got Gallo, Hicks, and Judge. So to me, I would imagine if you had Conforto, he would play left, and then Gallo would probably move to center. Gallo, to me, I feel like he is not much of a center fielder, but he has played center field, I believe, in his career. Probably not a whole lot, but he's played 55 games total in center field in his career. He has 4 defensive runs saved in center field, a good UZR. So I could see Conforto maybe go to the Yankees. Could they do something like that? I mean, why not? I'm not a fan of Aaron Hicks. Not a fan. The guy's made out of glass. He's made out of cardboard with some Elmer glue. I don't know. But if we keep looking here, teams that didn't do well, you can probably take Seattle out of it now. Could Texas maybe? If we go to Texas, in their outfield right now, you got Cole Calhoun, Brad Miller, and Adolis Garcia. Brad Miller, to me, I feel like is a guy that he's more of a utility guy. You know, if you look at how many positions he played 58 times at first last year, 14 times in right, 13 times at second. To me, I think Conforto makes a lot of sense for the Rangers. I think he would be a really good fit for the Rangers. So, hey, yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, you know, yeah, they would lose. Whoever signs him is going to lose a draft pick. But, so, I don't know. But I think Texas could be a really nice fit. I know they spent a lot of money, but we keep moving on up the list. I've always mentioned the Diamondbacks. I always think the Diamondbacks could improve somewhere. We'll have to wait. I mean, here's the thing with the Diamondbacks. If they were really, like, if they were that bad last year, but but are they trading away guys? No, they want to compete. Also, Tom Amiano, I'm not sure why your super chat didn't come up earlier, but $9.99 super chat. Tom Amiano, thank you so much. Robbie, I can't remember being more excited about a Red Sox free agent signing. It just works in so many ways, but that pitching, LOL. Do you think they grab someone free agent or trade? If so, who? I don't know who, but I think if they do grab someone, he would like to have someone that's under control. Could you maybe go after Manaea, who will be cheaper because he only has 1 year left? Could that be an option? Possibly. I don't know if the A's, if you could put together a trade. Tom Amiano. Yeah, I don't know why. Tom, I'm not sure why the other one didn't come up before. I saw it earlier and I was just waiting for it to pop up. But again, Tom, thank you for the $1.99. Well, as you can see, it's working. So I don't know why it didn't come up before, Tom. I'm sorry about that. But Tom, I do appreciate it. Looking at your last one, I think they need to. But then again, Bloom, one thing Chaim Bloom does take pride in is he's very good at helping, Alex Cora and the coaching staff manage innings. You got to remember with the Rays, they were very big on managing innings, right? Getting innings out of the bullpen, getting innings out of their starters. How do they balance it, right? But in this case, it's a little different because they don't have as much depth in the minors like the Rays did before. So the Red Sox do have some depth. You got Bayo, you got Winkowski, you got Cutter Crawford. You do have a couple of guys that could come up and, help you out. So, it just depends. Does Bloom think they need another guy? They have added a lot of guys. So I wonder if they do just stand pat and just wait for Sale to come back. But I wonder if they could go after someone like Manaea. Knowing Bloom, though, probably doesn't see it as a good value because he's only going to have him for 1 year. So if they did get someone, could you maybe, one option that I'm thinking of, and I've actually seen him in some rumors prior, maybe someone like Luke Weaver. Could that be an option? Or like a Merrill Kelly. But I don't know if the Diamondbacks are going to want to trade. So, I don't know. Tom, thank you so much for the super chats, my friend. Really do appreciate it. So, where was I? Hey, Conforto, there's a lot of spots that he can go. Where is he going to go? I don't know, but was pretty interesting to read that he turned down a huge offer from the Mets. So, gonna have to wait and see. But Conforto, where does he end up going? Let me know in the chat. Where do you think Conforto ends up signing? So, moving on. Moving on here. Speaking of the Blue Jays. We're talking about Michael Conforto. Could he be an option? Could he be an option for the Blue Jays as a left-handed bat? Maybe, but they are looking for a left-handed bat. And it looks like they're looking at everything out there right now. So, taking a look here at the story, they continue to pursue left-handed hitting. The big one is Jose Ramirez. There were reports out there. They're looking to, maybe go after Jose Ramirez, possibly to play second base. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to stick to my guns. I don't think the Guardians trade him. I just don't think they trade him. They don't need to at this point. I think with the new name, I think they got to get the fans feeling good, and to just trade away your guy like that's not going to help you out. So, taking a look here, where are you guys saying for Conforto? I'm seeing Texas, Blue Jays, White Sox, Padres, Diamondbacks. Chewbacca says going back to the Mets. That could be something. So, taking a look here. But Blue Jays. Oh, Hans Isdell, $10 super chat. May have secured you a second interview for the stream or whatever. They sounded thrilled to see someone talk about baseball. They possibly got stuff for you to give away and stuff for you. Wow, that's awesome. That would be really cool, Hans. I would love to do some kind of a giveaway. Man, that'd be awesome, Hans. I'll make sure to connect with you after the stream. So, Hans, thank you so much for that update. Everyone, we will be talking with David Sampson on Tuesday night, former president of the Marlins. We will be talking with him. At least as of right now, it's still good to go, but we'll have to wait and see if anything happens. But as of right now, David Sampson, we will be talking with him on Tuesday night. So, Hans, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Always showing your support, man. And that would be really cool if we could, hey, in the next couple of weeks, we got spring training. Now that free agency is pretty much kind of winding down now, we can kind of just start focusing on spring training. So, I'm going to have all my predictions and previews and whatnot. But it would be nice to maybe talk with a couple of guys. So, but this would be a good time to do so. But Blue Jays, there's a lot of guys out there. Jock Peterson was one guy, but nope, he ended up going to the Giants. There was Corey Dickerson. There was Brad Miller. Nope. There is still Conforto out there. We're going to have to wait and see. It says here the Blue Jays had offers in on these three guys, so weren't able to land any of them. If we go to the tracker, let's say they didn't want to go, let's say they didn't want to go the trade route. Let's see what batters are available. So, looking here at the unsigned guys, could they get Gardner? Could you imagine? Could they get someone like Gardner? He's not really going to be an impact bat, though. So, there is Conforto right there. Could you get someone like Asdrubal Cabrera, switch hitter? Probably not. But there are some guys, they're just not really very enticing. So, I don't know. With the Blue Jays, man, it's going to be, it's going to be interesting just because, they just not a lot of free agents out there. So, I don't know. Who could they end up getting? I got no idea. There's a lot of options, like Jose Ramirez. But, could maybe someone like Ketel Marte. But I don't think the Diamondbacks trade him. I think the Diamondbacks, they want to see what they can do this year. So, I don't know. I don't think Ketel Marte is going anywhere, and I think his value is just kind of low at this point because of the injuries. Hans, what's going on? Other three answered, but they are super tied up with spring training, which I bet. I bet they are. But they are working to send stuff for the giveaway for the streams. Keep grinding. Hans, man, you're awesome, man. Thank you for the support. Always supporting the channel, Hans. Thank you so much. But yeah, I bet those guys are slammed down there, man. I went to a spring training, not like a game, but I went to like a practice. It was like before games actually started. I'll tell you right now, I don't know if anyone's ever been to a spring training, like a non-game spring training, when like pitchers and catchers report and stuff like that. But these guys are like running around. They're like going to all these different places. Like they're moving around, man. So like when they're there at camp, they are not just like hanging out. Like they're, you know, working on bullpens. They're doing whatever, you know, doing media, in the weight room, seeing whoever, athletic trainer, physical therapist. These guys are moving around. It was really cool when I went to it was the Dodgers spring training. The Dodgers used to be here in Florida, and that was when Derek Lowe signed with the Dodgers. I think that was what, 2005, right? And yeah, these guys were just like running around and just, man, I remember when, you know, people were trying to get autographs from Derek Lowe. He was like, "Oh, sorry guys, like I can't." We just, because we were all watching him pitch, and he moved, and then he went somewhere else, and people were trying to stop him for an autograph, and he was like, "Oh, sorry guys, I can't. I gotta go." And these guys they're just running around, man. So, but with the Blue Jays still looking for a left-handed bat, who could that left-handed bat end up being? We'll have to wait and see. Jose Ramirez, obviously, but I don't know. But the Blue Jays, after Trevor Story going to the Red Sox today, they're going to have to make some kind of a counter, right? So, but we got one more story before we get out of here tonight. Craig Kimbrel. It looks like the Atlanta Braves made a phone call about Craig Kimbrel. Let's go pull up the story here. How interesting would that be if Craig Kimbrel went to the Atlanta Braves, going back home? It would be pretty cool, huh? Braves discussed Craig Kimbrel trade with the White Sox. So this was before the Kenley Jansen signing. And so I would imagine the Braves are probably not going to go this route now that they've gotten Jansen. I mean, could they still go this route? I don't know. It says here that the Jansen signing would suggest that Atlanta's pursuit of Kimbrel is no longer in the cards. I mean, could you imagine, though, if they still went and got him? That'd be nuts, man. But Kimbrel, you know, he had a tough time with the White Sox last year. He was better with the Cubs. I still think there is a spot for Craig Kimbrel out there, and he could definitely still just stay with the White Sox, but you know, but I would imagine he probably wants to close. So if we actually go here to the relief pitching rankings, if you go to the bottom, I mean, probably I would imagine Colorado is not a good spot. I mean, why not the Rangers? Why not the Rangers? Why not? You know, I think that could be pretty interesting. Diamondbacks? Why not the Diamondbacks? They've added Melancon and Kennedy. They have prospects. And here's the thing with Craig Kimbrel. He is not going to cost a lot. He's not. He's not. His production value in the last couple of years on average, while sure he was looking really good in the second half of 2020 and then in 2021 with the Cubs, but when he went to the White Sox, his value just really took a hit. So if we go to the White Sox here, with Kimbrel, he's got a $0.6 million value. So I'm just saying, now the White Sox could pay off some of his contract, and that would help them maybe get a couple of maybe another prospect or two. But Kimbrel, you know, as of right now, he's not. If you take on his contract, it's not going to take a lot to get him. So that's why I wonder if the Phillies could be an option. You know, I think the Diamondbacks would be pretty cool. You know, Kimbrel can be your closer. Melancon and Kennedy can be your setup guys. So, not the A's. Could the Nationals? You know, they've been making some moves. Why not the Nationals? So, could he go back to the Cubs? Maybe. I wouldn't count it out. Could he? The Cubs they're trying to contend, but probably not. So, Cardinals could be interesting. Could he go to the Cardinals? You know? Just lost Alex Reyes. Maybe the Cardinals could be a pretty good option, but I don't know. He'd probably be a setup guy with Gallegos as the closer. So, maybe the Giants could be an option. You got Duvall, though, so what happens there? Maybe the Marlins could be possible. There are teams out there. I mean, to me, if Kimbrel, it seems like when Kimbrel is closing games, that seems to be when he's at his best. So, Michael, that is also something to take note of. Trevor Rosenthal. So, I mean, the Tigers maybe. Well, they got Chafin, so not the Reds. The Royals have been trying to add stuff to this bullpen. I mean, you got Barlow, so I don't know. But I mean, the Padres, maybe. You got Pierce Johnson here, so I don't know. But you know, maybe he could be a fit there. Go back to San Diego. So yeah, Robert, they can definitely add, you know, Kimbrel. So, yeah, the payroll is not the problem. It's just like, do the Cubs want to bring Kimbrel back? I don't know. But to me, how long does he have left on his deal? He's got 1 year, one more year. Yeah, he's got one more year. So, what team could use a closer for 1 year? Honestly, I really think the Diamondbacks would be a really good fit. Melancon and Kennedy can be your setup guys. And, yeah, that's what I would go. I'd go Diamondbacks, you know, honestly. Or maybe the Nationals. You know, what about a team? Like, what team, you know, is like on the cusp, you know, and is like a good upgrade at the closer spot away? I mean, honestly, could you imagine the Rays got him? Like, Jesus. I want, like, would they maybe do something wacky like that? Luke Walker, what's going on, man? Rosenthal said Boris approached the Braves with what the Twins gave Correa, and they said no Correa to the Braves. Next year is a real possibility. That is interesting. I read about that earlier, and I wonder, man, if the Braves will pull on or put on the full court press. Here's the thing with the Braves. They never give out big contracts like that. But they did just save some money with going from Freeman to Olsen. They got money coming off of the books. If we go to the Braves here. Looking at the payroll. I mean, you got guys. Charlie Morton, club option. Will Smith, club option. I thought Jansen signed a longer deal than this. I thought he signed a 2-year deal. Was Jansen only a 1-year deal? I thought it was 2. Oh, well, whatever. Jansen. So, Dickerson, Thornburg, they come off the books. That's a little bit. So, you know, it's... They don't usually spend that money. But could Correa be an exception? I don't know. I wonder if the Red Sox put on a full court press. They were involved with Correa. If Bogarts goes, could they get Correa? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I think the Braves, man, that could be an interesting fit. Could be interesting. Carlos Correa. But, man, oh, man. Still cannot believe he is a Minnesota Twin. Everyone, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go call it a night. It has been what an off season this has been. You know, I think we can, we still got Conforto out there, but we're pretty much at the end of the off season now. We can kind of start getting into spring training mode, preview mode. So over the next few weeks before opening day, expect previews, expect predictions, expect everything along those lines. We're still going to be streaming. I'm going to be uploading some stuff over the next, few weeks as well. So I think it's safe to say we could start getting into that mode. It's been besides the whole lockout. Hey, I want to thank everyone for this off season. It's been a heck of an off season. I know it wasn't the most fun for a few months there, but we all made it through. And we ended up having an amazing free agent period before the lockout and after the lockout. We had some surprise signings. We were up until 3 a.m. talking about Carlos Correa the other morning. I mean, what? Like that's... anyway, it's just been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the new followers, all the new subscribers, all the new members, and it's been a blast. So, just going to say, man, hey, this offseason was very exciting to spend it with all of you, but I'm just as excited to get into the next phase of baseball with all of you as well. So definitely be on the lookout. We're going to be doing previews and predictions in the next few weeks. And, yeah, but get ready, everyone. We're going to have some fun here over the next few weeks. So, but I'm going to get out of here, everyone. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And it's been a long off season. So let's just call it a night now. So Trevor Story to the Red Sox. I am a happy boy. I'm a happy boy. Everyone, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll probably be back with something tomorrow night, most likely. So be on the lookout for that. But for now, I will talk to you next time.